Welcome to our Q&A discussing women who have built communities, women organizing to help other women, women who are superheroes, mothers who are superheroes, and all the beautiful gems that you have. So I'll let us start by having you introduce yourself and tell us about your community, Mumpreneur.
Okay. So hi, my name is Mofulusha Deshunaike. I run Mumpreneur.ng. It's a support group for mothers in business and mothers who have side hustles and things like that. So I usually tell them it's a safe place where you can just be yourself. You can share your mistakes. You can learn from other moms. And like one of the key challenges that most mompreneurs have is balancing this whole thing, with family, balancing your business, your career, and all these things you have to do with business. So there we share tips on how we can balance all of these things. And that's what Mumpreneur.ng is about. We call ourselves the League of Kick-Ass Moms.
Awesome. So I've looked at your community. I love the name Mumpreneur. I love the fact that there's this space that moms can come and be like, oh my God, me too. Or wait, did this happen to you too? Or is your baby doing this too? Or are your children driving you nuts too? So it's a really, really amazing community. And we're thankful for you and thankful that you have created it. So can you tell us a little bit about your motivations for doing it? I know you had spoken about how you had left your full-time job and you wanted an opportunity to spend more time at home with your children, and that led you to start Mumpreneur. But how has it evolved, and what are your future plans for your community?
Okay, so the story, it all started, I always tell people it started because I was finding a solution for myself, right? So like I shared before, I was working full-time with a manufacturing company. At the time I had my first son, and I was working on the island, living on the mainland. It was crazy. They would send me letters to attend my son's PTA, attend this, and I could never attend any of those things, right? And nowadays a lot of schools have all these fancy things they do. So they have tea party, they have school presentation, and I was just never able to attend, and I felt really bad. Yeah, and of course it was very difficult because of the distance, the commutes that I had to, because I always try to be careful not to say that, for some people, the career path is working for them and they're okay with that, fine. But for me at the time, it was just not working for me. So I resigned and I started a business. I felt doing a business would be easier to manage, and I started the business before I resigned. When I started the business, while I was doing it, while I was still working, it was as if, everything was good. I'm doing this. I can do this. This is working, right? So one day I just got up and said, let me take the plunge and go right into business. 2 years down the line, I hit a brick wall. I'd gotten to that point where I was like, what did I do? Why did I do this? Especially for someone who, to an extent, I've always really been an independent woman. So I had my own money. I could, if I wanted to buy anything, or I could do, but I had gotten to this point where these are the right words to describe it. I was broke, busted, and disgusted. I was completely at that point where I thought, oh God, I've made a mistake. And the funny thing was, even the kids that I was thinking I wanted to have more time for, I didn't have more time for them. Because your business, I tell people, business is almost 24 hours. It's not the same as the office where you go to the office, you come back, and that's the end, right? There's no line, because you're there, you have so many deadlines, you have customers on your neck, you have all of this, especially when you don't have a proper structure, which I didn't quite have. Okay, so I started blogging about this. When I got into that point, for me, I like to write. It helps me release pressure. So I turned to writing, and I started a blog where I used to share all these experiences. And it was from that blog that I realized that there were a lot of other moms who were in that place where either they were tired of their jobs, but they were afraid to resign because they were not sure what they wanted to do, or they had resigned and they were already feeling, oh God, I've made a mistake. I'm not making the money the way I want and everything. And, other people who reached out to me who are like mentors to say, okay, you know what, maybe you should have done, you can do this, you can do. It was just, you know, a lot of activity came around it. And that was really how Mumpreneur started. So I used to just call myself the Mumpreneur. I tell you, it was not a deliberate, it was an accident. I sort of stumbled on this whole thing, on this whole community. I didn't set out planning to, I was just trying to maintain my sanity. I didn't set out planning to say, oh, I want to build this great community called the Mumpreneur community. No. I was the Mumpreneur struggling to maintain her sanity because I was losing it, right? And when this community started, I realized, you know what, if I had had all of this information before I started, if I had this wonderful support group before I started, maybe there's some things I wouldn't have done. Maybe it wouldn't have been that difficult. And I said, okay, you know what, let's build this community. Let's have this firm place where people who need someone to reach out to, need someone who can talk to them and tell them, help them with the ropes, can feel free to do that. And that was how the community started around 2013.
Wow, that's amazing. So what do you see Mumpreneur heading towards in, you know, a couple of years down the line? So the pandemic has happened now. Have you found that the needs of your community has changed? And if yes, in what ways, and how are you making plans? And I mean, if you don't want to share that, that's fine also, towards the future.
I will share happily. I'm a sharer. That's the whole thing Mumpreneur is about, you know. We are about removing that veil, removing that whole, you know, trying to be a mystery and all of that. No, let's openly share these things. That's how we can grow. And what I see about where I see the community going is, you know, COVID has changed a lot of things. We used to have physical events, a lot of physical events and fairs and stuff in the past, but of course we've not been able to do any lately. So we're trying to strengthen the online interaction, trying to, one of the other challenges I've had is a lot of moms, I don't know, maybe moms or women generally, are not very comfortable with digital marketing, right? So like promoting yourself online and all of that, many of them don't really know how to go about it. So we have a lot of, I mean, I've had to train them a lot. I have a Facebook group trying to get them to come out. Right now we're doing a challenge, say, come out, do a video introduction of yourself and all of that, because I mean, don't feel this is the Mumpreneur community, it's a group. Nobody's going to laugh at you, nobody's going to make fun of you or whatever. Come out, do a video, because you need to come out. Right now, the businesses that are thriving are the businesses that have been active online, right? So if you've not been active online, it's really a struggle, because people, you know, they don't know you have to struggle. So I want to get to that point where we have an army of mompreneurs that are digitally empowered, that can promote their businesses online and push themselves with that, and that balance. I think COVID has brought some good things with it, because now that more people are online, people are buying things online. Before, everybody would want to jump inside. I mean, I tell people I'm the type of person that, okay, I can be an energy bunny. I like to, until I go to the market, I've gone to Mount 12, I've gone to buy things myself. I don't feel like I've gotten the bargain. So if me, I can be using online shoppers, online personal shoppers for my stuff. I mean, everybody can use, so it has created opportunities. I'm trying to help these moms to see the opportunities and to take advantage of these opportunities, because we have to reposition and re-strategize such that we have more financially empowered moms and, you know, bold moms who are represented online, like a force that, you know, people can reckon with.
You know, as you're speaking, I was feeling more and more joyful, because I've been thinking about how we could do that partnership. I'm happy. with Mumpreneur, because it's, as the pandemic has really made everyone reassess where they put their energy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about being, you know, an entrepreneur in Nigeria as a woman, as a mother, and also as a community leader. How do you navigate all of those roles in a way that keeps you true to your core, like who you are when it's just you? How do you balance all of those things? Because I'm asking this to see how we can other people listening can get some information if they have this challenge in their lives of juggling the new normal, so to speak, or finding balance and or finding room to make sure they still come back into their center.
Okay. So one of the things I always say is balance is a myth. I mean, I saw this somewhere and I read. So it's about integration, right? So like you're integrating every aspect of your life into, because sometimes when we focus so much on, oh, I want that balance, and it's somehow as if it's eluding you, you get overwhelmed, and at the end of the day, you don't. I mean, there's this thing people push a lot and say, oh, women are powerful, they can multitask, they can this, they can that, and you assume that, oh, because of that, you should be doing like 100 things at the same time. No, you are not. you cannot be most productive if you're trying to be all over the place. So like we spread ourselves thin. And I used to be very guilty of that. I'm learning every day so one of the key things is delegate as much as possible, ask for help as much as possible, discard that myth of of being a superhero. You are human. You are human. If you're not happy, if you're not healthy, if you're not in a good place, you cannot achieve, all your goals and all those your dreams that you want. So for me, the way I stay centered is I prioritize me time. I prioritize my sanity. I focus on the things that are important. So I have all these grand ideas and a lot of things that I want to do. And of course, managing a community, I have a lot of I get a lot of people reaching out to me from different places all the time. So like I'm being pulled in so many different directions. I have had to learn how to say no. I've had to learn how to draw the line, okay? Because if you put yourself out there and you appear to be the kind of person who is always available, people will take advantage. So you would, in your mind, you're thinking, oh, they love me so much. Oh, that they're going to use you and kill you. So, I mean, self-love. Self-love is very important. Love yourself. Keep your own space. Keep your sanity. So I have keeping yourself organized. When I decide this is what I've set aside today for, this is what I want to achieve today, I focus on that and try not to get distracted. Learning to say no, especially for women, if you are listening, please, learning to say no is very, very important. Okay, so sometimes even for your kids, maybe you think that you have to do everything. I mean, the last session we had, I was taking notes. I learned a lot about raising independent kids, such that at least basic things. There are some things that a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, a teenager, whatever, should be able to do for themselves. Anything they can do for themselves, let them do it so that you can focus on other things. So the key thing to keep yourself centered and to manage the integration well so that you don't lose yourself is to ensure that you focus on you prioritize, you protect your space, and you learn to say no.
Learn to say no. That's really, as in, we really need to like put that inside our head.
I know.
So you referred to our last panel where we were talking about mothers as superheroes, and we touched on the subject about first daughters being moms before they were moms. So if you would like to talk a little more about that experience, we're welcome, we would welcome your thoughts on it, but also you don't have to. And I think it's something that a lot of Nigerian girls might be able to identify with. I know the focus is on first daughters, but it also spills down to, all daughters. But I know as you are a first daughter, we'll hear from your perspective.
Okay. So as a first daughter, I have, like I was saying the other time, I was a mom even before I became a mom, right? The burden, I think the way the African setup is most times there's so much expectation. You even forget sometimes that you're even a child, right? So especially depending, in my own case, I mean, people have different experiences. In my own case, my mom was not really the energetic type. Okay, so there are a lot of things I had to take on. I carried a lot of burden. And over the years, I mean, it took a while for me to come to say, why am I like this? I would say I had this people-pleasing trait, and it comes from the way that pressure that I got as a child to say, you know, I have to do this. I have to do this to make my mom happy. I have to step in. I have to. And the way we were raised, like, I have 5 siblings, and we had cousins live with us. We had so many, so the house was always full. I was trained to say, even if I'm the one that cooks the food, I will serve everybody before I serve myself. God help you if you serve, you are going to go and sit down and eat. Your siblings haven't eaten. My mom would beat nonsense out of your body. I mean, that's how it was. So I grew up like that. So it took, I mean, I'm sure this happened, this realization came in just a few years ago when I sat down and said, why am I like this? I'm the type of person that before you know it, I can offer my head. I've offered my head. You know, this selflessness, this whole just keep giving and giving and giving and forgetting yourself. And I said, no, this is right. And I was almost transferring it to my first son because I keep saying, where's your brother? Do this for your brother. And I said, I had to hold myself back to say, don't do this. Don't continue with this same, because in this life, everybody matters, right? It's good to be kind. It's good to want to help people, but not at the expense of your own happiness, at the expense of your own self. And that was how I was. I mean, even my siblings now, sometimes they stop me. So maybe something is happening. Before you know it, I've jumped in the car and I'm rushing to say, oh, don't worry, I'll do it for you. And they say, this, please calm down. There's no need. We didn't ask you. You know what? I became so used to that. I became so used to that because I was one who would take them shopping, take them to do this. So I think the pressure that we put on firstborns sometimes is unnecessary. Is a lot. Even financial pressure. So you feel that, is daddy's birthday and I'm contributing, and the firstborn has to be the one to do the. Meanwhile, you have your own family, you have your own, you know, but you forget. My dad too he's not the firstborn, but he had that kind of pressure too as a young child, because a lot of times we were denied of stuff because he would say, oh, my siblings, I have to do this, and we used to be so resentful and like, what for? You know, so it's all those things. Many times they're not even like obvious. It's subtle in the things that are expected, and it just registers in your head that, oh, I need to do this. I am responsible for this. Everybody's responsible for themselves. We should just raise, you know, everybody to be responsible for themselves. And we love each other, yes, but not that one person is the one who is the sacrificial lamb for everybody.
That's so true. That's so true. And I like that you got the consciousness, or you caught yourself from when you noticed you were doing it to your first son. And I think a lot of the times too is maybe women. I noticed. I mean, I'm not a mother, and I'm not married, so. But observing people, also watching on TV the dynamics, it's almost always as if fathers are excused from the upbringing. And so once a mother has a second child, it's like, first child, thank God, now I have this helper. I really think it's it might be a subconscious thing. Yeah, because, I mean, the tasks you're asking of your first child are the tasks usually, if you had a partner, the partner would help you.
I changed diaper tire. And I hated it so much. Can't change your sister's diaper.
It's really, really interesting. So many layers. It's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So tell me about what you did this weekend. So I know you have 3 boys. I don't even know your romantic status, but it's not even part of the gist. I want to just know how Mumpreneur spent her weekends.
So since the COVID lockdown, like I said, that was when I realized, because my nanny had to be away throughout the first 3 months, and it just hit me that, oh my God, I haven't really been deliberate about teaching the boys how to clean up after themselves and do like basic things. So mandatorily, every Saturday we get up and we clean the house down. So what I do is supervise. I make sure, I mean, when we started out, it was with a lot of grumbling and fighting. They would naga, but now they're used to it. Like, until you finish the cleaning, we're not doing anything. So we start out our Saturdays like that. because I don't want children, I don't want boys that won't be useful to themselves and that will be sitting down, crossing their legs and expecting the wife to be doing everything. No, no, no. So we start with that. Then Saturdays, I usually use Saturdays to cook, to prepare for the week. So like I cook all my soups and stuff and put in the freezer. Before COVID, we used to visit family and go swimming at the club because the boys love swimming a lot. And for me, it's the time to bond and relax. But of course, we miss that a lot. We haven't been able to do that. So we just generally stay around the house and I listen to them. We play around. We watch movies. When my husband is active in church and at work, so most times he's not always at home. So it's just me and the boys going up and down together, all over the place. So like we spend weekends bonding. Saturday, of course, we watch online church. We try to cook breakfast together. So they're learning how to cook, at least the little things. They fried sunny side. Was it last week or so? And they were so excited when they brought it to me. I said, taste it. So I said, yes, very good. Those are if you can eat, you should be able to cook. So I think most of our weekends, that's what we're learning things, that there's time, everybody is present. So we spend that time just getting to know each other and bonding.
So as a mom of boys, please tell me the ages of your sons and tell me how, if you have started teaching them about their interaction with the world outside of their family, and about,
First is
now we have to, be inclusive about the whole spectrum of choices our children will have to make. That's at least in my time growing up, it was never, there were some things that were just A or B. It's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, something like that. So in what ways are you preparing them for the world and the relationships they would have outside of their family, so that they're, of course, you say you don't want to raise sons that expect their wives to do everything, but they can't do things for themselves. So how are you working to make sure that they're...
Okay, so my first is 13. He just turned 13 in May, my first teenager. I'm a teenage mom. The second is 9, and my baby is 2. He's going to be 2 at the end of this month. Preparing them for the outside world, I would say that that's not easy. It's not been easy because there's some things that I wish my husband was more available and more active. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not the type that lies of home. He's very busy and exactly ever. He's not that patient. I try to get him to talk to them sometimes because there's some things I think is easier. I mean, it's better when they hear from the perspective of a man. To fill that gap, often I get my brothers. I mean, they have mentors as they are. So my brothers sometimes mentor them. I register them for online courses a lot. So when I see online course about etiquette, online course about relationships management, about creative writing, I just use those things to engage them. And at least when that foundation is there, they come back to me, because at least I thank God that to an extent we are really pretty close. They are free to talk to me. I try my best not to be the typical African mom who freaks out when they ask questions. So like if they come and say, oh, mommy, what is Pornhub? And I've had that. I try my best to say, you know what, Shade, calm down. Don't freak out. Calmly explain. So just keep a straight face. I'm like, oh, okay, so is this thing about this? And sometimes, as much as, I remember Jetty said that the other time, that social media is a curse and a blessing. There's so much resource out there. So much resource that helps you. So like there's a video I saw recently about handling porn and boys and things like that. A video that they did, a video ad in the Netherlands. So I just showed them. Yeah, and we started this discussion from there. When things come up, during the period where we had all these rape issues in Nigeria, I sat them down, showed them some videos that were age appropriate, and we discussed it. So we talk about why shouldn't you do this? Why should you respect other humans? Why shouldn't you? Things like that. So I think talking to them and trying to also be the example So like the way I relate with people around me, because I tell people that a lot of times you can say all you want. If you are nasty, if you are rude, if you don't treat people right, your children are watching you and they will pick those things from you. So like being the example and just creating those moments and opportunities for discussions, and then of course getting them mentors that I know can lead them and direct them in the right way. So those are the tools that I use.
I'm so blown away because I had not even thought about that. But that's really true, right? All those resources online and new videos, that's actually, it really makes sense because it's also been put together by experts. Or when I say experts, I mean like people who, who have studied maybe the social. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really good tool. I hope that I actually want to write that. I mean, I'll write it down and keep it in my mind because it makes sense. It really makes sense.
They've done the research, so they've done these videos, they package these things for teenagers. And so all you need to do, I know some people argue and say, oh, kids should not be on social media, kids should not. But I think there's all these things that if you keep saying, don't do this, don't do that, the more reason why they would want to. So why don't we all be there together? Let's all look at it together. Let's so that they're not hiding things from you and they're not going to go and see the other, just as much as they're good resources, they're bad ones too. So you want to know what they're looking at. You want to know what they're doing online. And that's what I try to do.
It's really awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have any final last words for everyone watching this about really being an exemplary person, even though the theme of our thing is exemplary women, an exemplary person in the way that you live? You've talked about so many important things and given so many important points. What would be like, if a take-home salient point, if nobody remembers anything, what should they remember from you?
Yeah, so remember to love yourself. Many of the things we do, many of the terrible things that happen, it all starts from not loving yourself. Like you indirectly or you subconsciously project that hate that you have for yourself on other people. If you first of all love yourself, you are happy. You would show up in the world as a better person. You won't take offense when people do some things because you're understanding it's not about me, it's them, right? And so maybe you probably give them a smile or show them love, and it all starts from there. Love is the foundation. So love yourself and understand that you are awesome and be awesome, right? So that's important. All right.
Have a great day. Good night.
Bye. Bye.